Hey girls, what time is it?
Adventure time! And there's a fly in the car.
Oh no! We are going to Steinaker State Park. So if you look here, this is Provo, this is Salt Lake, and it's over here just north of Vernal. It is estimating that we will arrive there at 26% battery, and we are going to be charging at the campground here with a 50 amp RV outlet. Between our house and this campground, it is 167 miles, which will take us just over 3 hours. There are superchargers down here in Price, way over here in Richfield, and way up here in Evanston, Wyoming. So basically we are going out into an area where there are no superchargers, so we will need to use that campground. I have the one wheel in the front, as well as the charging cables, extension cord, a helmet for the one wheel, and charging cable for the one wheel, and various other miscellaneous things in here. And I thought I would point out that the hood actually kind of caves up over the contents of the front. You can see here the one wheel sticks up a good, I don't know, what is that, 4 inches or so? And yet I am still able to successfully close the hood, which you can see right here. Just like that. And that is right on the edge, I am sure. The battery is charged up to 100%, and we are at 81 degrees Fahrenheit at the ambient temperature. So let's get started. After hitting up a car wash on our way out of town, we drove for 2 hours and 41 minutes to drive 172 miles. That drive used 74% of our Model S battery, or 57 kilowatt hours, which means we arrived with 26% remaining. We achieved 92.2% efficiency, or 331 watt-hours per mile, which equates to 101.7 miles per gallon equivalent. As always, on our road trips, we had activities for the girls to give them something to do during the drive when they aren't taking naps, of course. As you can see on the energy graph, driving through the mountains gives a very active energy consumption graph. It's fun driving through the mountains because of the ample power to go up and the regen braking on the way down on the other side. We've driven our Model S to this campground before, so we knew the charging setup before we got there. I created a video about that trip. If you're interested, I'll put a card above to that. Before that trip, I called ahead and the campground employee gave permission to charge my Tesla, and he explained where to go to charge. Since there isn't any, what I'd classify as fast charging in Vernal, like a supercharger, and the one-way distance is greater than 50% of our battery, we must get some energy while we're out there. Charging while we're there, even if it's from a slow source, is the best way to handle the charging situation so that we're not having to wait for it. In the video where Jessica and I kayaked to the gates of Lador, which I'll add a card to above, we charged up the car 80% over several days just from a standard 15 amp household outlet on the side of a hotel. In summary, given enough time, electric car charging can be done from a large variety of sources and speeds. The most convenient method is always the closest method to where you're already planning to be, so that you actually don't have to spend any time charging. Alright, it's been almost 3 hours and we are in Vernal, and this is what the chart looks like right now. And so we're getting here with a little bit more energy than what we originally anticipated. Well, actually it was 26 before, so I'm not sure why the line's higher. And then looking at the energy consumption graph, we're currently 267. I've seen this go really high and really low, and I'm sure you saw that in the time lapse as well. We've arrived. We are at the group site at Steinaker State Park, and if you look here on the map, you'll see that's where we are right there. So let me show you now where we are. They have a big group pavilion here and a couple of grills and lots of parking. And the actual reservoir is there through the trees, but it's still filling since they were doing some maintenance on it. And so there's not water like right up here by the campsite. And then over here on the other side of the picnic tables is a fire pit and some benches. And they also have RV parking spots periodically placed all the way along this side. You excited, Lucy? Show me your excited face. Show me your excited face. There you go. It's 94 degrees here, and we'll be getting the car unloaded, and then I'll be taking the car over to where they have some RV outlets. They don't have any here at this particular site, but they do down the road a little bit. Right here is the shack at the beginning of the campground, and this gravel road to the right is this long-term camping registered guest only area that they told me to charge in. And so we'll just come up in here and find an open spot. There's one over there I see, And then here is a camper, and then there's an available spot right there as well. And then there's an available spot up there. And I'm looking at these metal pedestals that you can see right there. I think I'll go ahead and just pick this one right here. And then I bring up the car controls here, open the frunk, and we'll go get the charging cable. So here in my frunk, I have my one wheel, and this is going to be useful for me to ride back to the campsite, since that's about 0.4 miles away. And then in here I have the charging EVSE that came with the Tesla, and I won't need the extension cord here. I just have it just in case. Then looking at the electrical source here, we have a NEMA 1450 outlet here, and that's the 50 amp circuit. And then we have a TT30, which is for a travel trailer. This one is 120 volts. This one is 240 volts, 50 amps and 30 amps. And then this one is a NEMA 520, and this is a 20 amp, 120 volt circuit. So this is your standard household outlet, but higher amperage than normal. So then looking up here at the circuit breakers, this is here the NEMA 520, this is the TT30, and this is the NEMA 1450. So all I need to do is take my Tesla plug here. It has the NEMA 1450 on it already, and plug that in right here. And then up here I need to turn this on. And then once I do that, I can check the light here, and we can see a green light, if you can see that. So then I just pick up my charge handle here, push the button on the handle right here, opens up the charge port door, plug it in, and it starts charging, just like that. So then we can come over here and check the amperage that the car is pulling. So here it's going to go ahead and pull the full 40 amps, and that's okay because we already checked, and it has a 50 amp circuit that it's being plugged into, at least the circuit breaker. And we are getting the full 240 volts here, and so this should ramp up to just shy of 10 kilowatts. I'm not sure if it'll display 9 or 10. Oh, it looks like it just displays 9 kilowatts. So at this point, to get up to 90% charge, which is what I have the charge rate currently set to, you'll see over here the voltage has gone down 2 volts. That's actually not very much voltage sag. Usually there's a little bit more than that, closer to 7, maybe 5 sometimes, if you're pulling the full 40 amps. Okay, now it's even estimating below 6 hours. So not terribly important. We're going to be here all night anyway. I'm riding on the one wheel back to our campsite. I should be there in just a couple of minutes. You can see the lake through the trees there, maybe a little bit. And over here is the turnoff to go down into the group campsite where we're staying. Hey girls! I might back so fast.
Kind of fast.
Just kind of.
He's not quite strong enough to help me.
Oh. Well, you got pretty far. We were the first to arrive out of several families coming together here. This group site is separate from the rest of the campground by a bay, which while we were there was empty because the reservoir was still filling from maintenance it had undergone in years prior. When we were here the year prior, nearly the entire reservoir was empty. We made sure it had water this year before coming since we had a ski boat on the way. On the other side of the campsite is a small mountain ridge, which the kids had fun exploring, and I'll show you more of that later. Along the edge of this group site are 7 parking spots for RVs. They are on the short side, but you'd have a hard time turning around in here with a larger RV anyway. This is a nice private campsite, and it's even cooler when the reservoir level is up to the edge of the campsite. When it was about time for the next family to arrive, Jessica and the girls walked to the entrance to flag down newcomers in the family because it's not obvious this is where to stop. I guess we could have brought a sign, but they were fine chilling there for a time. Here's our tent set up. We have our front door here. We got the one wheel and other electronics and storage area, and then we have Jessica's and my air mattress, and then 3 girls' mattresses over here, and then a place for their stuff. And then this way is another tent. It's been a couple of hours, and the car is now estimating 2 hours. It's currently at 67%, and you can see it is at 40 amp charge rate, 240 242 volts is what it was just a second ago and just changed. So really healthy voltage. One thing I thought was interesting is it still says 9 kilowatts right there, but 242 volts times 40 amps is actually 9.6 kilowatts, and I'm kind of surprised they don't round it up to 10. But I don't know, for what it's worth. I wish that they left 1 or 2 decimal places. To give you an idea of where we are, this is Steinaker State Park, and that red arrow over here is the car. That's where the Tesla is charging, and we're up here at this blue dot up in the corner there. So that's about 0.4 miles between those 2 points, if I remember right. It's now 10:15 p.m. and the car's done charging up to 90%, so I'm going to go pick it up. I'm riding the one wheel down this road to go get the car. It is now 10:22 p.m. and I let it charge up to 91% because I'm going to be driving just a little bit back to our campsite. So I'm now going to get it unplugged and go park and go to bed. That charge took 5 hours and 35 minutes to add 65% to the battery, or 48.19 kilowatt hours. It charged at 89.4% efficiency, so it actually used 53.9 kilowatt hours. We were there for 3 nights, and the kids had tons of fun exploring the mountainside next to the campsite when we weren't out on the boat tubing or wakeboarding. The pavilion was larger than we needed, so we had the luxury of being able to spread out and also have some shade. I set up a rope swing with my canyoneering rope and the kids' rock climbing harness. All the kids were constantly swinging on that.
You're almost living that too, Lucy. This is nice.
I'm glad you like it. Is that fun? The main activity of the entire trip was boating. Since we mostly had young kids, there was a lot of tubing around the reservoir with them. Since the reservoir hasn't filled all the way yet, we were unable to exchange groups of people right at the edge of our campsite, unfortunately. Everyone took turns out on the boat and on the tubes or wakeboarding. Frankly, for a lot of the kids, they just enjoy racing around the water on the boat. When they are out on the tubes, we drive the boat pretty slowly, at least compared to when we have adults out there. Since we couldn't fit everyone on the boat at the same time, we had activities for the kids back at the campsite when they weren't on the boat. What do you have, Clara? Oh, it is. Can you show it on your hand? Oh, there it is.
I'm keeping it.
Okay. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Are you falling asleep?
No.
No? Do you want another swing? Yeah? Okay. Whew. Lucy, did you have fun on the tube? I'm glad. It was fun. Lydia, are you having fun? Good. You're getting dizzy. I don't want you to throw up. Yeah, you can. Lydia's been on here for like half an hour. It has been a long time. Just follow me. Oh, look at the sunset. Lydia, are you climbing? Wow, you're such a good climber. Lucy, show me your rock hair. We are on the ridge above the campsite and the sun just set. They call this the Eagle Ridge Trail. I got some cool drone footage as the sun was setting. And now we're getting the elevation manually. This is a lot more work. You got this, Lydia. That is a city called Vernal.
We are in Vernal.
We're near Vernal. Those lights are Vernal. Lydia, you climbed up all that by yourself. Good job.
This mountain is called Eagle Ridge.
Here's fast.
Look at that view.
There's the camp right there. After our hike, and as the darkness descended, we headed back to hang out at the fire as we did every evening. After darkness fell, the kids had fun with the fire and glow sticks and just sitting around telling stories and hanging out. Whoa. Tell me what you really think, Lucy.
I think it's beautiful and awesome.
There, and you have to do all the elements: air, fire, water, earth, and then... Lucy, what's in your egg?
A triceratops.
Oh, there's the triceratops. Good job, Lucy. Lydia, what did you get?
A dinosaur.
Yeah? Do you know what kind it is?
No.
Let's show the camera and see if they know. What kind of dinosaur is that?
I washed it off.
Okay, hold it up so I can see it. There's the triceratops that she got. Clara, what did you get? A dinosaur. There's Clara's dinosaur. Hey Clara, what are you doing with your dinosaur?
I'm digging it in the hole.
Not yet.
Yeah. Lucy, you should show us your boat dance.
Okay. Now nobody's too.
Hey, it's the girl tube.
Have fun today?
Yes, but I hated the bike.
Oh yeah. All right, here's a quick little update for the charging situation on the Tesla. The first night that we arrived, I charged it up to 91% and took it over to our campsite. The next morning it had gone down 2%, which is not terribly uncommon just from when it has finished a long charge cycle. It runs some coolant pumps for a while, cooling down the batteries. The car has largely sat unattended, us just going in and out of it, charging our devices off of it, etc. for the last 2 days. So we're down to 83% and it's 91 degrees outside. I did turn off cabin overheat protection for most of the time that we've been here. And then over here, you can see we're getting the 9 kilowatt charge rate. So ultimately I decided to come and charge, not really because the car needs it as much as I thought I would take a break in the air conditioning, and we have a lull in our activities right now, so I was going to do some work on my computer and air conditioning. And so I'll get it back up to like 90% or so, and then tomorrow we're going to be driving back home and doing something else along the way home as well, so we'll need the full 100% charge. And so I'm planning on coming back here tomorrow at some point to go from about 90 up to 100% before we take off. And I forgot to mention, I also decided to come so I could charge up the one wheel. It's been 42 minutes of charging and we're now up to 91%. So if we wanted to continue up to 100%, it would need to be here for another 1 hour and 10 minutes estimated, but I don't need that. I don't want it sitting at 100%. I'm just going to unplug it now and take it back to the campsite, and just a little drive over there, and it cooling down after the charge will probably take it down to 90, which is where I want it to be. The sun is just rising on the mountainside there. We are taking off today, so I'm going to go plug in the car for the last time. It's going to take about 1 hour and 15 minutes to get up to 100%, and then I'll come back and get it. I've got the car plugged in, and so it's estimating 1.5 hours. It had a little bit of drain overnight, so it's at 86%, and we're charging at 10 kilowatts now is what it's actually indicating, and the voltage is at 247 volts, which is about as high as I've ever seen on a NEMA 1450 outlet. So yeah, we're getting a great charge rate, and I'll be able to monitor this from our campsite because we do have a cellular data reception here. I'm gonna ride the one wheel back to our campsite and get things packed up. And you can see here that it is 60 degrees outside. So I would say that the one wheel has worked awesome for transporting between the car needing to charge and our campsite, and also just playing in general. Hey girls. Good morning.
Good morning, Daddy.
Oh, that's so cute. Good morning, Lydia. You shouldn't have fruit snacks first thing in the morning for breakfast. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, Dad.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Set. Go!
Today we're going to we're going home and
It is now 9:02 and it was 7:01 when I plugged it in, so it's been 2 hours and it's just doing some cell balancing at this point. It's been at 100% for the last probably 15 minutes and it's just saying calculating, so I believe that's what that means. It's still pulling 2 kilowatts here. The amps went up a little bit when I turned on the air conditioning, so that's probably not 100% of that is going to the batteries right now for the balancing, but that's not terribly important. We have enough range to do what we need to do today. This is the fullest I've ever gotten the frunk and this does shut, so you can see how full the frunk can be. That's about the limit before it starts crushing things. Okay, we just left the campground. We're heading to Dinosaur Land that's in Vernal on Main Street. We're heading out at 98% and this is the view. We are at a place called Dinosaur Land, I guess, and they have an outdoors farmer's market today, I guess. We still are trying to figure out what is going on. What are you finding, Lydia? Dinosaur prints? Wow, those are bigger than your feet.
Is a quartz crystal?
Is that a quartz crystal? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. All right, we're back from the Dinosaur Museum. Did you girls have fun? Yeah, they're so tired from this trip. We're routed back to our general area of home, and the car is estimating that we will arrive with 36%, and this is what the energy graph looks like for the trip. It is now 11:18, and it is 79 outside, and the battery's at 95%. Let's get started. For the entire trip, including the drive out, all short drives and standby losses while there, and driving home, we used 171% of our battery. We drove 352 miles and used 386 rated miles. We used 117.44 kilowatt hours for all the drives combined, which at 10 cents per kilowatt hour adds up to $11.74. But the campground didn't charge us for that electricity. I anticipate in the future they probably will begin to charge electric cars specifically for the electricity that they use, if they allow charging at all. We all had lots of fun, and we're glad we were able to go. Our only other vehicle is a Nissan Leaf, which has far less range than our Tesla. Click on the card above to see the video I made about testing its range around town and on the freeway. If there had been no way to charge our Tesla in the Vernal area, or somewhere within the route, then we would likely have needed to rent a gas car, which would have been a bummer. But in my opinion, it's still worth driving electric most of the time around home and renting a car when needed on road trips if the electric car can't do it. So far, we haven't needed to rent a car though. We're still in the early stages of electric vehicles. Both the range of the vehicle and the availability of fast charging will likely get a lot better in just a few years. Hey girls, we're home. Did you have great naps on the way home?
Yes.
Yeah?
I had one.
Good.
I woke up a couple times.
You did? Did you have...
It's on my hours on me.
Did you guys have so much fun on this trip?
Yeah, and I got an owie on my toe.
You got an owie on your toe?
Oh, yeah, owie.
This is what the energy graph looks like for the last 30 miles. We were coming down out of the mountains, so 252 is low, and that's not surprising. We ended up getting back home with 25% remaining. I wasn't trying to drive conservatively or anything, and so it had originally estimated, I think, 36. So we lost 11%, which is quite a bit, but not a big deal. I hope it was informative for you to see yet another trip and how it went with an electric car. And in this particular case, how we were able to go out into a really remote area, stay at a campground, and be able to just charge the car there. Incidentally, we were able to charge it for free. So, I mean, I guess we were paying to stay at the campground, so it wasn't completely free. But it worked just fine and is obviously always fun and a great car to drive. And works great for our needs.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.